In a quiet, sunlit room, Master Li sat cross-legged before his group of attentive students. The smell of incense filled the air, a soft breeze from the open window gently rustling the scrolls that lined the walls. His eyes scanned the eager faces before him, searching for the right way to begin. After a moment of silence, he posed a simple yet profound question. Have you ever wondered how the rhythm of life, in all its chaos and order, can be expressed through music? The students exchanged puzzled glances, unsure of where the lesson was heading, but Master Li continued with a calm smile. Let me tell you the story of Philip Glass, a man whose music mirrors the flow of time, life, and even the spiritual teachings of Buddhism. His journey is not only one of musical innovation but of spiritual exploration, and through it, we will learn how sound can become a meditation on existence itself. He paused, his voice lowering as he leaned in. But before we dive into the music, we must understand, what does it mean to listen, to truly listen? The room fell silent again, as each student was drawn into the story of the composer whose music intertwined with the lessons of mindfulness, meditation, and the impermanence of life. This was no ordinary lesson, it was an invitation to explore the profound connections between art and the soul. Philip Glass, the American composer and the profound influence of Buddhism on his music, Philip Glass. The name alone evokes a sense of innovation, a revolution in the world of classical music, and a sound so distinctive that it forever changed the landscape of contemporary composition. But did you know that behind this legendary figure lies a deeply spiritual artist whose life and music have been profoundly influenced by Buddhism? It's not just a simple fascination. Glass's engagement with Buddhist philosophy, meditation, and his close relationship with the Dalai Lama transformed his entire approach to music making. Through his works, Glass weaves together the threads of mindfulness, impermanence, and interconnectedness, creating soundscapes that transcend the ordinary and take us on a spiritual journey. Let's dive deep into the life of Philip Glass, exploring how his immersion in Buddhism became the cornerstone of his artistic expression. 1. Early life and the beginnings of a revolutionary musical style. Born in 1937 in Baltimore, Maryland, Philip Glass grew up surrounded by music. His father owned a record store, and young Philip had the privilege of being exposed to an eclectic range of musical styles, from classical to the latest jazz and pop. Can you imagine how formative that must have been for the budding composer? This early exposure planted the seeds for the immense creative curiosity that would later define his career. But who could have predicted that this curious boy from Baltimore would grow up to change the face of modern music? Glass's formal musical education began at the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City, where he immersed himself in the study of traditional Western classical composition. But even in his early years, Glass felt a hunger for something more. Something that classical Western training alone couldn't provide. Have you ever had that feeling, knowing there's more out there, just waiting to be discovered? For Glass, this curiosity led him on a path that took him far beyond the boundaries of Western music. In the 1960s, Glass traveled to Paris, where he studied with the legendary composition teacher Nadia Boulanger. It was here that Glass had a life-changing encounter that would alter the course of his musical career. While collaborating with Indian sitar master Ravi Shankar on a film score, Glass was introduced to the intricate rhythmic structures of Indian music. Can you imagine the spark that must have ignited within him? For the first time, Glass saw music not just as melody or harmony but as rhythm, something that flowed like time itself, something cyclical and eternal. This was a revelation, one that perfectly aligned with his later philosophical interests, especially those drawn from Buddhist teachings, and then, Glass's minimalist style was born. Minimalism, for Glass, was a musical language that embraced repetition and slow, subtle changes. It was as though each note, each phrase, was a meditation, a contemplation of sound, evolving over time, much like the impermanence of life itself. His music, with its hypnotic, trance-like qualities, invited listeners to enter a state of deep reflection. Listening to Glass's work is almost like sitting in meditation, isn't it? You're drawn into the present moment, captivated by the small changes that, over time, lead to profound transformation. 2. The intersection of music and Buddhism, early spiritual influences. The transformative power of Buddhism in Philip Glass's life came at a pivotal moment in the early 1970s. At this time, Glass was already exploring new musical horizons. But he was also seeking deeper meaning in his personal life. Buddhism entered the picture, and it was like Glass had found the missing piece to his puzzle. Have you ever had that moment where something just clicks, and suddenly everything makes sense? That's what Buddhism did for Glass. It provided him with a framework to understand life, existence, and creativity. Buddhist teachings on impermanence, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth resonated deeply with Glass. He began practicing meditation, which became not only a personal tool for mindfulness but also an essential part of his creative process. Meditation, for Glass, wasn't just about achieving calm or peace of mind. No. It was about focus, about channeling his thoughts into something tangible, something musical. Can you imagine sitting in silence, focusing so deeply that your very thoughts transform into rhythm, melody, and structure? That's what Glass achieved, and it's what makes his music so extraordinary. Through meditation, Glass tapped into the cyclic, repetitive nature of existence, mirroring it in his compositions. The idea that everything is constantly evolving, yet somehow remains connected to what came before, is central to Buddhist philosophy, and it's also central to Glass's music. His repetitive motifs are like mantras, endlessly recited but never the same, constantly shifting and transforming. Isn't it fascinating how music and spirituality can intertwine in such a seamless way? Another key Buddhist practice that influenced Glass was mindfulness, the act of being fully present in each moment. This concept is reflected in the way listeners experience his music. Glass's compositions demand attention to the present, to the minute changes that unfold over time. You're not just listening to a piece of music, you're experiencing time in a completely new way. It's as if Glass is inviting us to meditate with him, to immerse ourselves in the here and now, as his music slowly evolves, moment by moment. 3. Collaboration with the Dalai Lama and deeper engagement with Buddhist teachings. Philip Glass's engagement with Buddhism deepened significantly when he had the incredible opportunity to collaborate with none other than the Dalai Lama. Can you imagine? Working alongside one of the most revered spiritual leaders of our time. It was a partnership that not only strengthened Glass's personal connection to Buddhism but also brought his musical exploration of Buddhist themes to new heights. Glass became involved in several projects related to Tibetan Buddhism, including charitable efforts to preserve Tibetan culture and raise awareness about the plight of the Tibetan people. The Dalai Lama's teachings on compassion, mindfulness, and the nature of existence left a profound mark on Glass, both personally and artistically. Compassion, in particular, became a recurring theme in Glass's work, an expression of his deep concern for the well-being of all living beings, something that resonates deeply with Buddhist philosophy. One of the most striking examples of the Dalai Lama's influence on Glass's music is the opera The Voyage, 1992, which Glass composed for the Metropolitan Opera. This work is nothing short of breathtaking. It explores themes of exploration, both physical and spiritual, drawing heavily on Buddhist ideas of transformation, change, and the quest for understanding. The music in The Voyage is contemplative, almost otherworldly, inviting listeners to reflect on their own spiritual journeys. Do you ever listen to a piece of music and feel like it's speaking directly to your soul? That's the kind of experience Glass creates in The Voyage, urging us to ponder the deeper questions of existence. Another significant project is Glass's collaboration with filmmaker Godfrey Reggio on the Qatsi trilogy, Koyaanisqatsi, 1982, Pauqatsi, 1988, and Nakoa-Qatsi, 2002. The trilogy, whose title means life out of balance in the Hopi language, examines humanity's relationship with nature and technology, themes that resonate strongly with Buddhist ideas of interdependence and the balance between all living things. Glass's minimalist score provides the perfect backdrop for these films, enhancing the meditative and reflective atmosphere that permeates the trilogy. Watching these films is like stepping into a meditation, a deep contemplation of the world and our place in it. 4. The influence of Buddhist concepts in Glass's major works. If there's one work that epitomizes Philip Glass's integration of Buddhist philosophy into his music, it's his Symphony No. 5, 1999. This monumental piece, subtitled Requiem, Bardo, Nirmanakaya, is a sweeping exploration of the soul's journey from birth to death and beyond. Could there be a more fitting subject for a composer so deeply immersed in the teachings of Buddhism? The symphony is divided into movements that correspond to the stages of life. Death and rebirth, echoing the Buddhist belief in the cyclical nature of existence. Bardo, the symphony's central movement, is a direct reference to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which describes the soul's journey through the intermediate state between death and rebirth. The text has inspired countless artists, but Glass's interpretation is particularly powerful. Through his minimalist language, he creates a sonic landscape that mirrors the cyclical nature of life and death, a theme that lies at the heart of Buddhist thought. Even the title of the symphony is rich with Buddhist symbolism. Nirmanakaya refers to the physical manifestation of an enlightened being, a concept central to Mahayana Buddhism. Through this work, Glass invites us to contemplate our own spiritual journeys, urging us to reflect on life's impermanence and the eternal cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Listening to this symphony is a profound experience, one that touches the deepest parts of the soul and leaves us contemplating the mysteries of existence. Buddhism as a life philosophy and creative tool. For Philip Glass, Buddhism is not just a passing influence or a philosophical curiosity. It's a way of life. His commitment to meditation and mindfulness has shaped every aspect of his being, from the way he navigates daily challenges to the way he composes his music. Have you ever wondered how someone can stay so focused, so grounded, even in the face of life's ups and downs? For Glass, the answer lies in his Buddhist practice. Buddhist meditation and mindfulness have become not just tools for Philip Glass to manage his life but essential mechanisms for unlocking his creative genius. It's as though the practice of sitting in stillness, focusing on the present moment, and embracing life's transience has given him the ability to channel something much greater than himself into his music. Have you ever felt completely in tune with the world around you, as if time slows down and everything makes sense? That's the kind of mental state Glass achieves through his Buddhist practice, and it's something that shines through in his music. Glass has often spoken about how meditation allows him to focus deeply on his compositions. In his view, composing is very much a meditative process, a practice that requires stillness, patience, and concentration. The slow, repetitive nature of his music mirrors the focused attention of meditation, where subtle changes and shifts take on profound significance. Can you imagine sitting for hours, focusing on every note, every sound, allowing the music to unfold naturally, like a flower blooming in slow motion? This kind of dedication is not something many can sustain, but for Glass, it's the core of his creative process. Mindfulness, another cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy, plays a pivotal role in Glass's life and work. Being mindful means being fully present, aware of every detail in the moment. Glass's music demands that same kind of presence from its listeners. You can't simply put on a Philip Glass composition as background music and expect to appreciate it fully. No. His music requires you to engage with it, to listen deeply, to be mindful of the small changes and evolutions that occur over time. Isn't it remarkable how music can teach us to be more present in our lives, to slow down and appreciate the subtle beauty of the moment? In interviews, Glass has described how his Buddhist practice helps him navigate the challenges of life. He credits meditation with giving him the clarity and calm he needs to stay grounded, even in the midst of a demanding career and personal life. It's a lesson that resonates with all of us, doesn't it? In a world that's constantly moving at a breakneck pace, Glass's ability to maintain a sense of inner peace and focus through meditation is an inspiring example of how we can all benefit from mindfulness. And this sense of peace is something that flows through his music, creating a soundscape that offers listeners a refuge from the chaos of the modern world. collaboration with Tibetan Buddhist causes, a commitment to compassion and justice. One of the most compelling aspects of Philip Glass's engagement with Buddhism is his unwavering commitment to Tibetan causes. Glass has long been a vocal advocate for human rights in Tibet, speaking out against the Chinese government's oppressive policies and raising awareness about the plight of the Tibetan people. His activism isn't just a passing interest, it's a deeply personal commitment to the principles of compassion and justice that are at the heart of Buddhist philosophy. Through his collaborations with various Tibetan Buddhist organizations, Glass has used his platform to amplify the voices of those fighting for freedom and autonomy in Tibet. His close relationship with the Dalai Lama has inspired him to be a champion for the Tibetan cause, and his music has often served as a vehicle for raising awareness about the challenges facing the Tibetan community. It's truly remarkable to see how Glass's music extends beyond the concert hall, becoming a tool for social change and a means of advocating for the values of compassion, kindness, and justice. In works like The Passion of Ramakrishna, 2006, Glass explores themes of enlightenment, compassion, and the quest for spiritual awakening, all central tenets of Buddhist thought. The oratorio, based on the life of the Hindu mystic Ramakrishna, reflects Glass's fascination with spiritual leaders and the journey towards self-realization. Though not explicitly Buddhist, the work resonates with Buddhist ideas of compassion and the dissolution of the ego, mirroring the principles Glass holds dear. Glass's dedication to Tibetan causes goes beyond his musical compositions. He has actively supported efforts to preserve Tibetan culture and has participated in benefit concerts aimed at raising funds for Tibetan refugees. Isn't it inspiring to see an artist use their influence for such a noble cause? Glass's commitment to the Tibetan people and his work to raise awareness about their struggles is a testament to the power of music as a force for good in the world. The influence of Buddhism in Glass's later works. As Glass's career progressed, his engagement with Buddhist philosophy only deepened, and the influence of these teachings became more pronounced in his later works. One of the most poignant examples of this is his Symphony No. 7, 2005, subtitled Toltec, which explores the spirituality of indigenous peoples in the Americas. Although not explicitly Buddhist, the symphony delves into themes of interconnectedness, the natural world, and the cycle of life, all of which are deeply resonant with Buddhist ideas. Another example is Glass's Symphony No. 9, 2011, a grand, sweeping work that reflects on the human condition, the passage of time, and the mysteries of existence. The symphony is contemplative, introspective, and deeply meditative, a reflection of Glass's ongoing spiritual journey. Listening to it, you can almost hear the echoes of Buddhist philosophy, the sense that life is a continuous cycle, always evolving, yet always connected to something greater. Isn't it amazing how a piece of music can capture such profound philosophical ideas, and invite us to reflect on our own place in the universe? Glass's operas, too, reflect his engagement with Buddhist themes. Works like Satyagraha, 1980, and Eknaden, 1983, explore the lives of historical figures who sought spiritual enlightenment and social change. Satyagraha, for example, is based on the life of Mahatma Gandhi and his philosophy of nonviolent resistance, a concept deeply aligned with Buddhist teachings on compassion and non-harm. Glass's portrayal of Gandhi as a spiritual leader who used mindfulness and inner peace to bring about social change is a powerful reminder of the transformative power of compassion and non-violence. Conclusion: the fusion of music and spirituality in Philip Glass's work. Philip Glass's music is more than just a collection of notes and rhythms, it's a profound exploration of the human spirit, a journey into the depths of existence, and a reflection of the spiritual principles that have guided him throughout his life. Through his engagement with Buddhism, Glass has crafted a body of work that transcends the ordinary, inviting listeners to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery and reflection. His minimalist style, with its repetitive motifs and gradual evolution, mirrors the principles of mindfulness and meditation. It's as if Glass is inviting us to sit with him in stillness, to contemplate the beauty of the present moment, and to embrace the cycles of life and death. Isn't that what we all seek in some way, a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us? the influence of Buddhism on Glass's work is not just intellectual or philosophical, it's deeply personal, shaping both his creative process and his worldview. From his early experiments with minimalism to his later, more explicitly spiritual compositions, Glass's music is imbued with a sense of reverence, compassion, and interconnectedness that reflects his deep connection to Buddhist teachings. In a world that often feels overwhelming, filled with distractions and noise, Philip Glass's music offers a sanctuary of calm and introspection. His work serves as a reminder of the power of mindfulness, the importance of compassion, and the beauty of the present moment. Listening to his compositions is like stepping into a meditation, a space where we can reflect on the mysteries of existence, the impermanence of life, and the infinite possibilities that lie within each moment. So, the next time you listen to a Philip Glass piece, let yourself be fully present. Immerse yourself in the repetition, the subtle changes, and the quiet beauty of the music. Let it guide you on a journey of reflection, mindfulness, and spiritual awakening. Because, in the end, that's what Glass's music is all about, a profound expression of the human experience, shaped by the timeless wisdom of Buddhism. Isn't it extraordinary how music can touch the soul in such a deep and meaningful way? Through his life, his music, and his unwavering commitment to Buddhist principles, Philip Glass has shown us that art and spirituality are not separate realms but are deeply intertwined, each enriching the other in ways that elevate both. His work is a testament to the transformative power of mindfulness, compassion, and meditation, reminding us all that there is beauty in the moment, and that through music, we can find a path to inner peace and understanding. As Master Lee's voice trailed off, the students sat in silent reflection, their minds still lingering on the story of Philip Glass, the composer who had transformed his music through the teachings of Buddhism. After a long, thoughtful pause, one of the students, a young man sitting closest to the window, finally broke the silence. "Master," he began hesitantly, "does this mean that music is like life? Constantly moving, changing, but always connected to something deeper, something we can't see but feel?" Master Lee's eyes twinkled with approval as he nodded. "Exactly," he said. Philip Glass understood that music, like life, is a cycle, an ebb and flow of energy, a reflection of our inner world. His minimalist compositions teach us to pay attention to the subtle changes, the moments of stillness between the sounds. It's a form of meditation, a practice of being fully present, just as we are with our breath during meditation. The students listened intently, their earlier confusion replaced with quiet understanding. Master Lee stood up slowly, gesturing toward the scrolls on the wall, their intricate calligraphy dancing with wisdom. "You see, just as Glass found his inspiration in the teachings of Buddhism, we too must find ways to bring mindfulness into our everyday lives," he continued. Music, art, or even the simple act of listening, these are all paths to awakening if we approach them with an open heart. Remember, life is not about rushing to the next moment but about embracing the present with full awareness, much like how we listen to a piece of Glass's music, where each note unfolds slowly, revealing its beauty. The sun was setting now, casting long, golden shadows across the room. Master Lee smiled warmly, sensing that his students were ready to carry this lesson with them. He slowly made his way to the door, pausing just before stepping out. "One final thing," he said, turning back to his students. "In Philip Glass's music, and in life, it's not always the loudest or grandest moments that hold the most meaning. Sometimes, it's the quiet, subtle shifts that teach us the most. Learn to listen, not just with your ears, but with your whole being. In doing so, you will find harmony within yourself." And with that, Master Lee left the room, leaving the students to sit in the fading light, their hearts and minds filled with the echoes of his wisdom.